Hey, what's up? I'm Chris, this is my couch, and I like to talk about books. Today, I calculated some numbers, and then looked into what the box set price costs brand new. And then I wanted to make a video about this because me and a friend, I talk about how proud I am of this book collection, this precarious stack of books here. How proud I am of this collection. And my friend was like, you should do a video about it. And I was like, it's kind of a silly video, but you know what? I think I agree. I do want to do a video about this because I am really proud of this one. And also because if you don't know what this series is, which some of you, I'm sure just from this alone, can tell, my all-time favorite book is in this stack. And I think it's changed. But we'll get back to that in a bit. For those of you that don't know what this precarious stack of books is, this is the entirety of the series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. Now, what makes this one of my prized book possessions? One, this is the first set of books that I determined I wanted every single one of them in hardback, and I determined this about 2 years ago. Two, I decided I didn't want to buy the books brand new. That's what makes this so special. I spent about a year and a half not going online, just going to various Goodwills and thrift stores, looking for the hardcovers of these books. Now, I already owned book 12 and 13, and I owned a paperback version of book 2, which is my all-time favorite book, The Reptile Room. This is my favorite book because as a kid, I was absolutely obsessed and enthralled with the idea of reptiles and the science of just that in general. And so I own a paperback version of book 2 because I checked out so many times from the library that my mom bought it for me. I still own that book. It's the only book I have a duplicate copy of. It's in my keepsakes box because it's covered in mud. Now you're gonna ask yourself, Chris, why is your book covered in mud? Because I was a kid, and my dad had built this little, cabin out of, plywood in my backyard that I would play in, and I would read my book in. Well, I had left it in there, and then me and the neighborhood kids got into a mud fight in the middle of summer, and then when I came back, my book was covered in mud. So I did the best I could to clean it off, but it's very much stained in mud. And I decided I wanted the entire hardcover collection because I had the last 2 in hardcover, which my mom and my papa bought for me for Christmas because I couldn't get the books checked out of the library because they were always on hold. There was an extensive list, and I don't believe the last book had hit our library yet. And I was desperate to read the series. So I spent a year and a half going to Goodwills and thrift stores. I think actually I ended up finding all of these at Goodwill. And that is what makes this my most prized possession because I spent a year and a half thrifting every single hardcover in this series, except the last 2, which I had already owned. And they're all in relatively good condition. There's no markings in the beginning. There's just, it's perfect. And I spent so much time and energy. And I had texted friends and was like, hey, if you're going to Goodwill, can you check the book section? I'm just looking for this book, this number. Because I wanted all of them in hardcover, and I didn't want to buy them. I didn't want to buy them brand new. There's so many circulating, and I knew there were so many circulating. Thrift stores and people's houses. I was like, there's no reason to be printing new copies of these. They're everywhere. There's no reason for me to go on Amazon and buy the box set. Which, for the record, the box set is $75 for the hardcover. It's $40 for the paperback box set. I checked. It's about the same everywhere. So, I don't know. There might be places where it's cheaper. I'm not sure. And yes, I am showing off every single one because they're almost in perfect condition. There's a couple that have, bent edges and stuff like that. I'm not super picky about that, though. Which is what makes this the best. This is just, this is gonna be my second favorite one in this entire series. But yeah, I managed to pull this off. And I remember being absolutely obsessed with this entire series when I was a kid. And I still am. I still go through phases where I'm like, you know what? I just want to reread that entire series. And I will, because I own them, and I don't care. And then, of course, I have the ones that I've kept since I was a kid. These ones are a lot more beat up, funnily enough, than those. Like, my deckled edges are really smashed. Which, whatever. And there's, like, pencil marks and stuff for me taking it to school. These are my copies that I've had. These were bought brand new. This one has a $5 mark on the back, which means someone got it for cheap. So yes. So this is my prized book collection. This is my equivalent of special editions. I don't really buy special editions. I don't mind special editions. I think they're pretty, but I don't seek them out. I haven't really found a book that outside of these that I'm like desperate for special editions. My entire Gone trilogy. My entire Gone series is a complete hodgepodge of like mass market paperbacks and hardcovers, and then the old paperbacks, and it is what it is. This is my life. Now, as you know, book 2 in this series is my favorite book. My all-time favorite book has always been The Reptile Room. I recently think my favorite book has changed. Last year, a friend of mine loaned me a book they had purchased and said, "Hey dude, I really think you would like this book." And I read the book and I went, yeah, this was a phenomenal book. I'm really into solar punk. It's a very solar punk sci-fi book. I was like, this is incredible. And I haven't stopped thinking about that book since I finished it. I've recommended it to so many people, regulars, friends. I don't stop thinking about this book. I think about it so often. I truly think it is my new favorite book. And it is probably going to be the first book that I purchase when I am ready to purchase books again. And that is Monk and Robot by Becky Chambers. This is a duology of 2 novellas smashed into just one book. The concept behind the book blew my mind, and I truly don't stop thinking about it. And I think my favorite book has changed. Which is kind of insane, because I've had the same favorite book since I was like 8. Now, to explain why I recommend this book so heavily, this is a solar punk style book where it's a bunch of monks society after basically a god has given robots consciousness, and they have like vanished off into the woods, and how society changed after that revelation. And your main character is a non-binary T-monk who is the first person to interact with robots in like, I think it's 200 or 300 years. And it's just their adventures, and it's the sibling Dex's like thought process on burnout and feeling useful, and it is so well thought and so well formulated, and it blew my mind, and I highly, highly recommend it if you are looking for solar punk style books, or even just a good sci-fi book. This is it. This is just 5 stars. Truly, I think my new favorite book. I've been itching to reread it, and I'm almost tempted to borrow it from my friend again. But I know that the second I'm off my book buying ban, I will be purchasing that book. That's going to be like the first book that I purchase, because I don't stop thinking about it. It has changed my mind. It's changed how I look at the world. It's changed how I've thought of what we could do with the world. And that's what blows my mind the most, is it had such an insane impact on how I see what the future could potentially be. And that alone, I think, is a good enough reason for you to go look into this book if you have the opportunity. Yeah. Oh, man. That's what I got today. It was nothing crazy. I just wanted to show off my thrifting. Oh! I totally forgot. My books over here, I mentioned the box sets are $75 for the hardcover. I purchased all of these books secondhand outside of the last two for $32. Most of these were $2.99 outside of the first book, which was $1.99. So a little under $32 was what I purchased for all of these hardcovers in really great condition. So that's why this is a huge win for me. I love thrifting books. If I can buy a book secondhand, I will. My biggest thing though is I don't like books that are annotated, highlighted in, or written in. That is the one thing I draw the line on. I just cannot handle that in a book. But these are all like in phenomenal condition, and I'm very proud of myself for this one. Okay, that's what I have. If you get the opportunity, definitely go read Monk and Robot by Becky Chambers, and let me know what you think, or comment down below if you've read it before, because the book blew my mind. And I really want to read it again. And I know it won't be the same the second time I read it, but I immersed myself in that world so thoroughly and thoughtfully that I literally think about it all the time. Like, not an exaggeration. When I start thinking about how bad the world is, I think about that book. And what the world could become. Ah! Okay, that's my hot off the shelf video. And this is not going to be uploaded on a Friday. This is going to be one of those random ones I just kind of like plop in whenever I finish editing it. So, hi. It's probably not Friday. Oh gosh. Y'all seen that drama with the Hot Girls Read trademark? I've been like following a couple people's updates on it. And it's been like 72 hours, and there's already like a cancellation pending for the trademark now, from what I've seen. That's nuts. I don't think I've seen so many people come together and like absolutely dog on a person before. At least not like in this community, which is just honestly hilarious. I think my favorite one to come out of this was the Hot Girls Don't Trademark Common Phrases. Props to the person that instantly made those and then started selling them as stickers. Funniest shit ever. Damn. I'm just yapping. Why are you still here?